Canfield is a patience or solitaire card game with a very low probability of winning. It is originally a casino game, and in the United States is named after casino owner Richard A. Canfield, who popularized it in the 1890s. While commonly called Canfield in the United States, it is usually called Demon in the United Kingdom. It is closely related to Klondike, and is one of the most popular solitaire games. Noted gambler Richard A. Canfield owned the Canfield Casino in Saratoga Springs, New York during the 1890s. Gamblers at his casino would play the game by buying a deck of cards. Some sources say the cost was $50, others say it was $52. The gambler would then play the game and earn $5 for every card they managed to place into the foundations. If a player was fortunate enough to place all 52 cards into the foundations, the player would win $500. Although players made a loss on average of about 5 to 6 cards, the game proved to be popular, and Canfield became rich. The disadvantage of this new game was the need to hire a croupier for every gambler playing the game. Canfield himself called the game Klondike, but the name Canfield stuck in North American circles. Confusingly, Canfield is also the traditional name for a different solitaire game that was later renamed Klondike in North America, and which is the most popular form of solitaire that most people are familiar with. An argument has been made that the game originally played at Canfield's casino was in fact the one now commonly known as Klondike, and not the one popularly known in the US today as Canfield. To play the game, one must first deal 13 cards faced up and then turned down. These cards would be the reserve, the top card of which is available for play. Then a card is placed on first of the 4 foundations to the right of the reserve. This card is the first card of its foundation, and all other cards of the same rank must also start the other 3 foundations. Below the foundations are 4 piles, each starting with a card each. This will be the tableau, and the top cards of each pile are available for play. Cards on the tableau are built down by alternating colors, while the foundations are built up by suit, wrapping from king to ace if necessary. Any gaps on the tableau are filled from the reserve. In case the reserve is used up, cards from the waste pile are used. Cards on the reserve can also be distributed to the foundations or to the tableau. Cards on the tableau are also moved 1 unit, provided that the entire column has to be moved. When no more plays are possible on the tableau and no more cards can be placed to the foundations, especially from the reserve, one can deal cards from the stock, the undealt cards, 3 at a time into the waste pile and use these cards to build to the foundations or to the tableau. One can make unlimited redeals as long as there are moves, although Richard Canfield himself restricted the number of times that gamblers could redeal the stock. The game is won when all cards are placed in the foundations. But as Canfield knew very well, winning this game is unlikely, as one can manage to place an average of 5 to 6 cards. Some variations to the game include Chameleon, where the reserve only has 12 cards, and there are only 3 tableau columns. Building in the tableau is down, regardless of suit, and the stock is dealt 1 at a time with no redeals. All or any cards may be moved from the end of one tableau pile to another. Rainbow, in which the tableau builds down regardless of suit. Cards are turned 1 at a time and no redeals are allowed. In some sources one can deal from the stock 1 card at a time and 2 redeals are allowed in this game. Selective Canfield, where one can deal 5 cards right after the reserve is dealt. One can place any one of these 5 into the foundations and the remaining 4 cards become the tableau. Storehouse, or 13 up, in which one should remove the deuces, 2s, and place them on the foundations. The reserve and the cards on the tableau are then dealt. The stock is dealt 1 card at a time, and it can be used only twice. Furthermore, the method of building in this game is by suit. Superior Canfield, where the entire reserve is visible, and gaps can be filled by any card, not just those from the reserve. Other closely related solitaire games include Duchess and the 2-deck game American Toad. Somewhat related to Storehouse is Eagle Wing, alternatively called 13 Down. Nerds, known as Bouncer Racing Demon in the UK, is a real-time variant of Canfield that enables the game to be played competitively between multiple players. It was the inspiration for the commercially produced Dutch Blitz and Ligretto. Under the standard rules, using a 3-card draw, Canfield can be completed successfully very often. Running a computer solver on 50,000 random Canfield deals has shown that between 71% and 72% of all games are possible to win. In the average game, 40 cards were moved to the foundation. Because the reserve cards are hidden, and because the 3-at-a-time dealing of cards from the stock means that cards played early in the game can impact which stock cards are available much later, it is very difficult by normal playing standards to come anywhere near theoretically possible win rates. The highest potential win rates for strategic expert level players averages at about 35%. In the storehouse variant, a greater potential to win increases rates to about 44% proportional to games played. In practice, however, storehouse is a much easier game. Most players will easily be able to win close to 44% of games, a much higher win rate than is ever achieved by casual players of Canfield.